Joel always liked when his mama smiled at him, and it seemed that when he was on stage, her smile was even wider than before. And so, at a young age, Joe decided he was going to be a star of stage and screen. He went to school to dance, to sing, to act. And he became really good. He was a good kid. He always did the right thing and never backstabbed in order to get noticed. He always played fair. And so it took a while, but I tell you, when he was noticed, it seemed like the whole world was on his side. It seemed like the whole world was smiling at him as wide as his mama was. Joe was on top of the world. For a while, anyway. You see, after Joe got famous, Joe's mom got sick with cancer. And not too long afterward, she died. Joe kept on working, busy as before, 6 days, 7 dae a week. He was tired, but every night he'd come out on stage and he'd see those smiles and he seemed renewed. But after a while, he couldn't keep it up. He started using pills to sleep. He started slipping and not being careful when he did things, and, well, people warned him that one day things would come crashing down around him, but Joe kept smiling and he kept trying. He kept popping those pills until one day the tabloid found out about him. They found out about his drug habit and also about the lovers he had on the side. And now when Joe went to perform, all he saw were angry faces. All he heard was boos. It felt worse than death. Still, Joe kept trying, kept smiling. He promised he'd get back on the straight and narrow, and he did. But when he went back out on stage, people were still booing at him. People were still so disappointed. They said, "We can't believe what you did, Joe. We can't accept you." And Joe promised and he implored the people, "Please give me another chance. I just want to see you smile. I just want to bring you happiness. I just want to make you smile." But the people dismissed him. They ignored him. For years, Joe stayed on the straight and narrow. He worked 6 days, 7 days a week, and one day he delivered a performance so bright that people couldn't help but cheer. "Our Joe is finally back," they all proclaimed. "We love our Joe," they all cheered, smiling. And seeing those smiles, Joe saw his mama once again, and he realized in that instant his mama was dead. He had known it in his mind all this time, but now he really knew it in his heart. These people didn't care about him. They didn't care if he was happy or sad. They didn't care if he was doing the right or the wrong thing. He knew that his mama wouldn't abandon him when he was blue, wouldn't smile just when he was making her happy. And so, after all those years of training, Joe suddenly left, and the people didn't understand. Why would our Joe leave us? But Joe knew something. He figured out something that night. He figured out what it really meant to be a star. Joe retired, and he started going to see people with cancer. He started performing for them because it made him happy and because it made them truly happy. All the tabloids wrote about how a star disappeared that night. But to Joe, who finally found happiness and doing what he knew he had to do, felt that that was the day that his star was born.